In 1254, a boy was born in Venice, a city that believed the world ended just beyond the horizon. His name was Marco Polo. Venice was a bustling hub of wealth, filled with merchants trading silks, spices, and wild rumors. But Marco's father, Niccolo Polo, was different. He wasn't satisfied with local trade. His gaze was fixed on the Eastern lands most Europeans had never seen, and many feared to even imagine. When Marco was just a boy, his father embarked on a journey so long and perilous that most assumed he was gone forever. Years drifted by. Marco grew up without him. When Niccolo finally returned, he wasn't just a merchant anymore. He was a man who had stood before emperors, crossed vast deserts, and stared into the face of the unknown. And then, he spoke the words that would change Marco's life forever. "We are going back." In 1271, at 17 years old, Marco Polo left Venice with his father and uncle. They didn't sail around the world. They walked across it. They had no GPS, no accurate maps, and no guarantee of survival. They traversed the Middle East, climbed the treacherous mountains of Persia, and stepped into the haunting silence of the Gobi Desert, a place so vast and empty that travelers believed it was haunted by spirits. For 4 long years, Marco walked. He saw men succumb to thirst. He witnessed cities built from mud and gold. He learned languages, customs, and laws that were completely alien to his European upbringing. By the time they reached China, Marco Polo was no longer a boy. He was a hardened, observant, and dangerously curious young man. And it was that very curiosity that captured the attention of the most powerful man on earth. Marco Polo stood before Kublai Khan, the ruler of the Mongol Empire, a colossal domain stretching from Eastern Europe all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Most foreigners who met the Khan simply bowed and stayed silent. Marco spoke. He described distant lands, foreign governments, complex trade systems, and the intricacies of human behavior. Kublai Khan saw something exceptionally rare in him. Not a soldier, not a merchant, but a brilliant mind. Marco Polo was taken into the Khan's service. For the next 17 years, he lived in the Mongol court. He became a diplomat, a trusted messenger, and according to some accounts, even a governor. He traveled all across China at a time when most Europeans still thought the country was a myth. He saw things that would have sounded like pure fantasy back home. Paper money used as currency, coal burned as fuel, massive cities far larger than any in Europe, highly organized postal systems, and laws enforced with terrifying efficiency. To medieval Europe, this was all impossible. To Marco, it was simply reality. After decades in the East, Marco and his family were finally granted permission to return home. But when they arrived back in Venice, they were unrecognizable. Their clothes were foreign, their mannerisms strange, and their stories were utterly unbelievable. The people of Venice laughed at him. They gave him a nickname, Il Milione, the man of a million lies. Then fate intervened once more. During a war with Genoa, Marco Polo was captured and thrown into prison. But prison didn't silence him. Instead, it gave him an audience. In his cell, Marco dictated his incredible memories to a writer named Rustichello of Pisa. He spoke of cities paved with order, of empires run by complex systems, and of a world far, far larger than Europe could ever imagine. The book became known as the Travels of Marco Polo. Scholars doubted it, priests argued against it, but merchants studied it in secret, and explorers, they believed it. Centuries later, a man named Christopher Columbus would carry a copy of Marco Polo's book on his own voyages, its margins filled with his handwritten notes. The man accused of lying had, in fact, redrawn the map of human ambition. As Marco Polo lay on his deathbed in 1324, he was asked one final time if his stories were exaggerated. His reply was quiet, measured, and unshaken. "I did not tell half of what I saw." And with that, he left behind something more powerful than truth or lies, a timeless reminder that the world is always, always bigger than the stories we are told. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories that changed the world.